Well, so we can start with this idea of violence first. So I think it's an important thing that we have to talk about because my son King now is 13, and we've been home having these conversations, these heavy conversations about violence and police brutality and burning buildings, and him, he's only 13 years old, I'm his mom, so he knows more than most 13-year-olds when it comes to politics and what's happening in the world. He's not sheltered in that way. But at the same time, he has lots of questions about how we protest and, what it means. So in the burning, when the precinct got caught on fire in Minneapolis, I can't say that I was crying tears, right? I was like, that's a fresh visual, And so, but at the same time, I understand, people not wanting Black-owned businesses, community-owned businesses to get touched. We're not setting things on fire in Detroit, but we are protesting and we are being aggressive. And but there's different things. There's different histories that different cities have, and different relationships that cities and Black people and brown people have with policing. And I think it's really revolutionary what's happening in Minneapolis with the Desfun Police movement. And people don't know what that means. So it's been education. Even for myself, I had gotten more educated about it so that I could talk to my family members and people about it, because people are so knee-jerk in reaction. They hear Defund Police, they think that means that we don't have any police at all. And that's not what it means. It means we're going to take money where it's being used for militarizing police in local communities where they don't need military equipment to police local people. Fellow citizens should be neighbors, you know what I mean? And not people outside your community coming in with military equipment to what? To do what? What are you going to do? Wayne State University Police Wayne State's a college right in downtown Detroit in what they call Midtown, the Cass Corridor, not far from where I live. They don't need military guns and AR-15s. They don't need that to police Detroit citizens, right? And so talking about violence the violence is not from the people. Protests that's how this country became freer. It's not free yet, but the reason why you and I can be free on some level in this country, can get on a plane, can drink from a water fountain, can go to a school with people of other cultures and attempt a equal shot at a college education with other white privileged children, is because of violence. It wasn't, and for people, they have this one line from Martin Luther King and they roll with that. The liberals love Martin Luther King and that one line, I have a dream. When he was talking about radical economic empowerment for Black community, and which is why they killed him. It was his radical, stance on things that led to his assassination. It wasn't because he was oming in the street. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because he was nobody should fight back. Him and Malcolm had more in common than not. And so, it's been deep. So I've had to, explain to my son that one of the ways I've kind of explained to him is if I'm outside and there's a fire, say if mommy is on fire and the building is on fire, who would you like the fire people to take care of first? And should we let the inanimate object burn, or are you gonna let mommy die? And that's where I'm at with that. I'm really tired of that conversation, because the things that you do to people, the violent way that Black and brown peoples and bodies are treated in this country is so overtly violent. The way that they undereducate our children in segregated schools, that they pretend we have an integrated school system, which we don't. These schools are all integrated. Everything is class. My son has never been to a public school. He's headed to Detroit School of the Arts in the fall. It'll be his first public school, because I couldn't send him to any public school in the city of Detroit safely. I didn't feel and to get the education he deserves. And most of his education comes from home. The private schools can't teach him either, and they try to destroy him spiritually. So there's that, I'm hoping that the public school will lift him up in a spiritual way, if nothing else, just to put him in a place where he feels love. So that for mothers of brown and Black children, not to be able to find a safe place to educate their children where they feel like the teachers and the administration love children is violent to me. That's a violent attack on American children. Not teaching about the transatlantic slave trade. not having any Black writers in English curriculum in universities across this country. Like I've gone in spaces where it's majority white English students who are getting like they're trying to get their master's degree in English or creative writing poetry, and they don't know who Amiri Baraka is. They don't know Sonia Sanchez. They don't know Lucille Clifton or Audre Lorde. They don't know anybody except their white boy friends. Like that's it. They know Walt Whitman, T.S. Eliot, Robert Frost, Emily Dickinson, Keats, whatever. They know, that's it. They know all the dead white boys. And that's the canon. The canon is much. And so everything has to change here. Like there needs to be a full reset in this country. I love that we're pulling down Confederate statues. Why are we celebrating people that wanted us enslaved? Wanted us to be slaves. They want slavery to still be intact, but they're fighting for the Confederacy. They fighting to keep us in chains. And we have statues in their honor, and no statues across the country of Black women. And if not for my African ancestors and not for my indigenous ancestors, there would be no America. And this is our country, and we built it for free. No free college. African American children, they're talking about reparations. I believe in reparations. I believe in reparations through school, though. I believe Black children and indigenous children should be able to go to school for free in this country. If they are the ancestors of people of African descent or indigenous ancestry, free college. We're allowed to read here. The Head Start, people forget about the Head Start. And still here we stand. And still we're the ones they couldn't kill. We are the ones they could not kill. We are the children of survivors. And it's just not, America's just turning on its head. And we have, what's deep about Trump is that we got the perfect dictator in place. Because, with President Obama, maybe we thought, people had this false idea that America was getting better, but it wasn't, and that racist came and knocked down every program that President Michelle Obama built, got rid of all of it. They were so mad seeing that Black family for 8 years that they put this, and they know what they're doing. They know they put this dictator, nut, unintelligent, narcissistic, psychotic person in place and to do their dirty work, because Trump ain't acting by himself. He's not the lone wolf. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of quiet Republicans right now who are letting this happen. And it's deep because, my mother is 75. So she came to this country when she was 17 to marry my father. So she came from Canada. And she was so shook up when she called me. I was like, what's wrong now? Because that's all we talk about is politics. And then she said, this bastard, tear gassing these protesters to go take a photo with the Bible. She was devastated. So, we even because we talk a lot about the youth culture and how they're reacting, but, think about the people who are in their 70s, right, and 80s who fought and already went through civil rights movement, watching young people have to do this all over again. And it's 2020. And it's so ridiculous that we still have to fight. But the system is, it's so intrinsic. It's like a part of the fabric of American life is institutionalized racism, is sexism. All those things are so woven into everything from your teacher to your professor, to where you worked, to corporate America. It's all there. It's deep because as this place gets browner and browner and blacker, and they become the minority, which is what's happening. The white fragility is so out of control because, I never, the word that I hate the most in the English language is minority. And, and that's what people can call me, some of everything. But when I hear the word like Andrew Cuomo, I think might be in the right place, right? But folks be needing cultural sensitivity training, these anchors, even the ones in the right place. I listened to this man say minority 200 times in a row. And I was making me physically sick. And I wanted to just be like, Andrew Cuomo, dude, listen, white boy. I know that. And the thing was, he's understanding his white privilege, saying, listen, it's us. It's us with our white boy privilege. We got to fix it. And I agree with him. I'm like, yeah, fix your problem, but stop calling the global majority minority. While you talking out of your, trying to play down your white privilege, saying, listen, I know it's my taking the blame for it, but at the same time, diminishing me and not realizing it because, we're a global people and that's what we have to, and that's why our power is so rich and why they scared. It ain't scared because of the percentage that's in the country. It's the percentage on the planet. I haven't been anywhere, brother, that I don't look like every woman. I have been performed in South Africa. I look like South African women. I performed in Ghana. I look like Ghanaian women. I performed in Shanghai. I look like Shanghai women. I look like Hong Kong women. I look like Brasilada in Brazil. I understand that I am a global woman, that I am a woman of the earth, original woman, connected to all the original women. And when we realize that I'm not letting this white man call my people minority when they're the minority and they know it. They're Europeans. They're the minority on the planet. We know that they're the minorities. You are European immigrants in this country. You're not the majority on the planet. Europe is not big. It's not bigger than the continent of Africa. It's not bigger than the continent of Asia. It's not bigger than, and so, you know, even people on the right side of things, so I feel like our hearts are in the right place, still need a lot of work, right?